The Indiana Fever didn't just blow out the Las Vegas Aces, they shattered 9 WNBA records in a single night. Kelsey Mitchell passed Tamika Catchings. Caitlin Clark moved ahead of Sue Bird. Sophie Cunningham achieved something the franchise had never seen before. But stay with us, because there's a 10th record hidden inside this box score, and this one belongs to the Las Vegas Aces. It's one of the most embarrassing statistical performances in WNBA history, and Aya Wilson probably won't be talking about it herself. So, we'll break it down right here. Who are you cheering for in this game? Let us know in the comments below.
Cunningham sidestep, launches again. Good! Again! Cunningham cooking!
Before tip-off, the biggest question on everyone's mind was simple. Could Caitlin Clark even play? She had been sidelined with a back injury, and everyone knew she wasn't stepping onto the court at full strength. So, the real question wasn't just whether she'd suit up, it was what would happen to the Fever when their best player was limited to around 25 minutes against a team like the Aces. Stephanie White already had a plan before the opening tip. Clark was going to be eased back into action, with a limit of about 20 to 25 minutes. The goal wasn't just to win one game in July. It was to keep Clark healthy for the rest of the season, especially after injuries disrupted last year. So, before the game even began, White set a strict minutes limit, and that number hung over the entire night like a countdown clock.
Welcome to fabulous Las Vegas, where tonight on the Strip, inside Michelob Ultra Arena, the Fever close out their 4-game trip where it began against the Aces. The ball is tipped, and the Fever have it first. Aaliyah puts it on the floor, drives, and scores. First play, first bucket for Indiana. Dribbles outside right wing, 3 over, Wilson is good!
And that created real tension for everyone watching the game live. A superstar was on the floor, but she was on a strict minutes limit, and every possession felt like it could be her last. The box score was never going to fully reflect her impact because efficiency doesn't always stand out like big scoring numbers. Clark wasn't trying to pile up stats. She was focused on making every possession count during her limited time on the court. Then the third quarter arrived. She found a teammate for an easy basket, recording her 600th career assist. The moment meant much more than another stat because it made her the fastest player in WNBA history to reach 600 assists, achieving the milestone in just 72 games.
Hand. Dump down to Billings, long stride, and one opportunity.
Now compare that to Sue Bird, the all-time assist leader in WNBA history. Bird built her incredible total over nearly 2 decades, doing it game after game and season after season. Clark reached 600 assists before many players even find their rhythm in the league, doing it in just over a season and a half despite missing a large part of her second season. An assist record carries a different meaning than a scoring record. Scoring records show how many points one player can produce, while assist records show how quickly a player makes everyone around them better. And Clark reached that milestone faster than anyone in WNBA history.
She did 19 points, so she gets some early tick here today. Clark threads the needle, down to Timpson, tough finish.
So exactly what Chelsea told Ashley about getting downhill, and that was off of a screening.
Now add a second record to the list. Clark is averaging 20.1 points per game this season while playing just 29.6 minutes a night, the fewest minutes ever by a guard averaging 20 points in a WNBA season. That's more than an impressive scoring average. It's a guard producing superstar numbers in fewer than 30 minutes per game, something no guard in WNBA history has ever accomplished.
Clark missed the last game, managing that back to go. Clark missed the last game, managing that back to go.
Here's the irony that not enough people are talking about. The more Indiana protects Clark by limiting her minutes and carefully managing her workload, the more incredible her per-minute numbers become. She spends less time on the floor, produces at the same level, and her efficiency looks almost unreal. Now look at her stat line from this game. She finished with 12 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists in just 24 minutes. At first glance, it seems like a solid but quiet performance. But those 24 minutes were enough to produce 2 WNBA records. She became the fastest player ever to reach 600 career assists and set the record for the fewest minutes per game by a guard averaging 20 points in a season. 2 records, 1 player on a minutes restriction, and the most efficient guard in the league right now.
I feel good. Had a hard workout day after the Phoenix game, felt great there, and then obviously we had practice yesterday, so I feel ready to go, and I'm excited to play 25 minutes, and excited for my spurts to be a little bit longer, so that should be fun.
While all of that was happening with Clark, someone else on the Fever roster was putting together a historic night, yet almost nobody outside Indiana was paying attention. How does a player score 27 points and still fly under the radar? That's Kelsey Mitchell. She doesn't chase the spotlight or turn every interview into a headline. She just goes out and gets buckets. While everyone in the arena was focused on Clark making history, Mitchell was quietly climbing the Fever record books, 1 possession at a time. It wasn't until the numbers appeared on the screen that many people realized what she had accomplished. The first milestone of the night was 300 career games with the Indiana Fever, moving Kelsey Mitchell into second place in franchise history behind only Tamika Catchings. If you know Indiana basketball, you know that name is respected like royalty. Being second behind Catchings is a remarkable achievement. Then came another milestone. Mitchell knocked down her 729th career three-pointer, passing Katie Douglas for 7th place on the WNBA's all-time three-point list. Just look at the names ahead of her, and it reads like a Hall of Fame class. They are the shooters who defined entire eras of the league, and Mitchell quietly moved past another one as if it were just another night at the office.
Mitchell, just look at the Jets. Hasn't even put them on full throttle yet. She's looking for something. Count it.
Kelsey Mitchell has got gears. She has 6 straight games with 20 or more points. Over the course of that, over 27 points per game. It's because she can score at all 3 levels.
Here's the part that explains why this keeps happening. Mitchell doesn't just make shots. She does it night after night without losing her rhythm or spending time on the sidelines. That's where the real record comes from. It wasn't built on one huge scoring performance. It was built on a streak that simply refuses to end. Mitchell has now scored in double figures in 38 straight games, breaking Tamika Catchings' franchise record, and the streak remained alive after this game. Just think about what that means. No long cold stretches, no off nights, no matter who is defending her or what the scouting report says about slowing her down.
For all of these players, this matters.
And Becky Hammond said future Hall of Famers on this floor tonight. No lies told. Mitchell off balance. She is in double figures.
Now add one more layer to it. Mitchell has recorded 6 straight games with at least 25 points, putting her 3rd all-time in WNBA history for a streak like that. The only players ahead of her are Tina Charles, who had 7 straight games in 2021, and Aya Wilson, who recorded 8 straight in 2024. That means the player Mitchell is chasing for the record is the same star whose team she just helped blow out on its home court. Let that sink in for a moment. Las Vegas didn't just lose the game. They watched one of the biggest stars in franchise history become the next name Mitchell is chasing, while the box score from that loss told the story.
Kelsey Mitchell is cold.
She's the fastest player in the league with the ball in her hand.
She is the fastest guard I've ever seen in my life.
I don't really think there's anyone in the league that can keep Kelsey Mitchell in front. And lays it in! Mitchell puts the Fever in front with 10 seconds to play.
It's her quickness, the speed, explosiveness, and strength.
Retreats, step back 3, and score! Kelsey Mitchell with a big one.
It's the 38th game in a row for Kelsey Mitchell, scoring double-digit points, passing Tamika Catchings' record.
6 straight games with 20 or more points. Over the course of that, over 27 points per game.
Add it all together, and Mitchell finished the night with 4 major franchise and league milestones: 300 career games played, 729 career three-pointers made, a 38-game double-digit scoring streak, and 6 straight games with at least 25 points. 4 milestones in one game, and she still wasn't the most talked about player on the floor. That's what a quiet night looks like when you're Kelsey Mitchell. But she wasn't even the most efficient scorer on the roster. That honor belonged to a player who didn't even start the game. Coming off the bench, she delivered the most efficient scoring performance in Indiana Fever franchise history. Mitchell's accomplishments were built steadily over an entire career, one game at a time. But what happened next came completely out of nowhere, in a stat category most fans don't even realize exists.
Mitchell, just dynamite from anywhere on the floor.
One of the hardest guards at 2 guard in this league.
Ball Mitchell, rise and fire, 3!
Her pull-up, jumper, her 3, her defense, so she has it on both sides of the floor.
The game's fast, but it also slowed down for her.
And she shows up every single day, and she gives us everything she has.
I just try to stay in it. I don't want nothing from nobody. I love the game. I want to give back to the game the best way I can. And the preparation, the work that I like to think that I put in, that's what you guys see.
How do you finish a real WNBA game with a true shooting percentage above 100%? It sounds impossible, but it isn't a typo or a stat error. Sophie Cunningham actually did it. To understand how, you first have to know what true shooting percentage measures. Unlike regular field goal percentage, true shooting percentage also includes three-pointers and free throws, giving each shot credit based on how many points it is actually worth, not just whether it went in. On a great shooting night, most players finish somewhere between 60 and 70%. Cunningham posted an incredible 111%, which basically means every shot she took produced more value than an average scoring attempt. Almost everything she put up found the basket, especially because most of her shots came from beyond the three-point line. That's about as close to a perfect scoring performance as anyone can have in the WNBA. Her final stat line tells the story. Cunningham scored 20 points while shooting 6 of 7 from three-point range. 6 made threes and only 1 miss all night. That performance became the most efficient 20-point game in Indiana Fever franchise history, surpassing every great shooter who has worn the jersey. Now zoom out beyond this one game because this level of shooting has become the standard since she arrived in Indiana. Since joining the Fever in 2025, Cunningham has shot 43.3% from three-point range. That's not just the best mark on the team. It's the highest three-point percentage of any player in the WNBA during that span. Among all the league's elite shooters, Cunningham sits at the top of the list.
And there's something to say for a team that goes through adversity. At times, it can bring you closer together. Cunningham, feeling it. She's hunting them now.
You don't want that.
Cunningham drills it.
And she's still getting better. This season alone, Cunningham is shooting 43.5% from three-point range, a new career high. That means the player who already owns the league's best three-point shooting stretch is somehow improving in real time. Sophie finished the game with 2 major records of her own, the most efficient 20-point performance in Indiana Fever franchise history and the best three-point shooting percentage of any WNBA player since joining Indiana. Now zoom out even further because this wasn't a one-woman show. 6 different Fever players scored in double figures. This wasn't Caitlin Clark carrying the team or Kelsey Mitchell doing all the scoring. It was a complete team effort. That performance also produced another milestone, as the victory became the second largest win in Indiana Fever franchise history. 9 different records were set in one game, and that's before getting to the 10th record still waiting to be revealed. Aaliyah Boston spent the entire night making life difficult for Aya Wilson on the defensive end and still finished with 19 points and 11 rebounds. That's not a role player having a good night. That's a star delivering on both ends of the floor, slowing down a former MVP while putting up an impressive stat line. Off the bench, Ty Harris added 10 points, and Monique Billings matched her with 10 of her own. Neither player needed to say much after the game. The box score spoke for itself.
She was looking. A little change of pace. And Harris was from deep.
This is the part that should worry every other team in the league. This wasn't one superstar carrying the Fever to victory. It was 5 or 6 players, many once viewed as role players or specialists, all performing together in complete sync. That's what makes this team so dangerous. And hidden in that same box score, alongside the 9 records set by Indiana, was a 10th record. This one belonged to the Las Vegas Aces, and it's definitely not a record they'll want to explain.
And Indiana has done this a few times. Gotten the basketball out of the rim quickly. Cunningham sets her feet. 3 for her.
And that was a deep one. And for Sophie Cunningham, who shot so well from 3 on the season on the last 2 games.
Here's the 10th record, and it's hidden in the same box score as the 9 records set by the Fever. The difference is that this one belongs entirely to the team that just got blown out. Just 1 game earlier, Las Vegas had beaten Phoenix by 48 points. 48. That's more than a convincing win. It's the kind of blowout that gets people talking about a championship run. Then, just 2 games later, the Aces faced Indiana and lost by 34 points. Same roster, same coach, same league, yet everything changed in less than 48 hours. Do the math, and the swing comes out to 82 points in point differential from one game to the next. That's the biggest point differential swing in WNBA history. Not one of the biggest. The biggest. And it's a record the Las Vegas Aces now own.
And I wonder if I could ask you one other question about Mitchell. You've coached against her for a while. She's on a stretch now where I think she has 6 games of 25 points or more, and you talk about speed. Is that a big part of why it is so difficult to guard her, how quick she is?
Yeah, I mean, her motor combined with her skill set, it's just hard. She's super fast. She never quits moving. They set a ton of screens for her. I don't know if they're all legal, but she gets a lot of screens.
Sit with that for a second, because this wasn't just a bad shooting night or a rough second half. Losing by 34 points after winning by 48 isn't just a slump. It's a complete collapse of everything that team was supposed to be, and it happened within the span of a single week. Naturally, after the game, everyone wanted an explanation. Aya Wilson stepped up to the microphone and questioned the officiating, suggesting the whistle was inconsistent and hinting that Indiana benefited from several calls throughout the night.
Becky touched on the reviews in this game and maybe how they impacted the pace. I'm wondering, as a player on the court, how does that impact the flow of the game? And is it a little frustrating, or do you even pay attention to it?
Yeah, I honestly don't pay attention to it. And of course, reviews and everything is going to get in the way, but at the same time, we shouldn't even be putting ourselves in situations to have to be reviewed, even though some calls may be a little skeptical.
Becky Hammon didn't lean as heavily into the officiating, but she pointed to something else. She focused on the schedule, saying her team needed more rest and explaining that playing 3 games in 4 days against the fastest team in the league would challenge any defense.
Not only that, I don't like posting her. I kind of like her in mid-range. I like her in space. To sit there and bang against Aaliyah Boston for 40 minutes is really hard on somebody's body, especially when they allow the physicality that they do. And that team was more physical than us the whole night on both ends.
Except the box score doesn't support that argument. Indiana dominated the key areas that decide games. The Fever out-rebounded Las Vegas 35-28, recorded more assists, created more steals, and committed fewer turnovers throughout all 40 minutes. The shooting numbers tell an even bigger story. Indiana shot 56% from 2-point range and 48% from 3, while Las Vegas managed only 39% and 24% in those areas. On top of that, the Fever knocked down 18 of 19 free throws, shooting 95% from the line, and that had nothing to do with the whistle. None of those things come from a referee's call. Rebounding comes from effort and execution. Ball movement comes from teamwork. Bench players stepping up comes from preparation. Taking care of the basketball for 40 minutes comes from discipline, not a referee's decision in the third quarter.
I think just for overall, we just need to rest our bodies. I was literally telling Jackie and Chelsea that towards the end of the game, it was a lot of rim out shots, a lot of short shots that we would normally make. I think we just need to rest. It is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. I don't want to flush this game away at all. I think we need to understand we can't look like this anymore against any team. But I do feel like just we need to rest a little bit.
And that difference showed up in the post-game rooms as well. Aaliyah Boston spoke about defense creating offense, making stops, moving the ball, and waiting for the right shooter to get the open look. That's a team focused on basketball and execution. Meanwhile, in the other locker room, the conversation kept coming back to officiating, scheduling, and fatigue. Even Aya Wilson admitted her team didn't bring the right energy. Whether it's a back-to-back or a full week of rest, the result comes down to how a team performs when the ball is tipped.
Yeah, I think we let our defense spark our offense, and then offensively, we moved the ball, we kept it popping. I think that's really just been a focus for us. It's just getting the ball reversed, and then it's going to find who should shoot it, and I think we did a better job today.
On those nights that your offense does those, that's how quickly can you tell that you guys are playing the way you want when it's coming?
Yeah, I think you can tell right away. I think for us, it's about making sure that we stay consistent through 4 quarters.
That's the part that hurts the most for Vegas. The same team that just scored 48 more points than Phoenix and looked like the best team in the league for a night couldn't find an explanation big enough to cover an 82-point swing in point differential against Indiana. You can blame a whistle for 1 or 2 possessions, but you can't blame it for getting out-rebounded, outshot, and outworked from the opening tip to the final buzzer, and that's the real difference here. It's not just numbers inside a box score. It's 2 franchises leaving the same building with completely different views of what happened. 9 records might look like a collection of stats, but they represent 9 different examples of a roster coming together at the same time. Clark's playmaking, Mitchell's scoring streaks, Cunningham's incredible shooting, Boston's slowing down Wilson, and 6 players reaching double figures. That's not luck. Now imagine what the rest of 2026 looks like with Clark fully healthy, Mitchell continuing to chase history, and Cunningham shooting at a level nobody has figured out the limit of yet. That's the biggest difference between these 2 teams. Vegas walked out talking about whistles and schedules. Indiana walked out talking about rebounding, defense, and ball movement. Only one of those mindsets builds a championship team. Who did you root for in this game? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications because we're bringing you all the biggest action and top stories.